Hey friends, welcome to 1 Minute with Monet, a podcast where we help busy adults live life with balance and harmony 1 minute at a time. I'm your host Monet, owner of Time Managed LLC, a full-service concierge and personal assistant business in Atlanta, Georgia. Visit our website, timemanagedllc.com, for more information about our services. Every week, I'll share tips for how you can manage your lifestyle and tackle your to-do list efficiently. Welcome to the next edition of 1 Minute with Monet. I am so pleased and grateful to have here with me today wellness expert and author Faith Hunter. How are you today, Faith?
I'm good. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself, and I'm going to tell everybody how I have come to love you, but introduce yourself first.
Yeah. So again, I'm Faith Hunter, and I, of course, am an author. I have 3 different books. One is a deep dive book, and then I have 2 that are journals. And then I have been teaching in this wellness space since 2003. I started out teaching in New York, relocated back to DC a couple of years after that, opened up my first yoga studio in DC, I think around 2006 or 2007, something like that. It's been so long. Yeah, owned businesses for wellness studios for like 17 years. And then about 2 years ago, I relocated and now I am in New Orleans, which Louisiana is my birth home. Yeah.
I love it. So I don't know if you've heard this story, but I first came to know about you and your work through the Essence Music Festival during COVID. And so you did a couple of breathing exercises, and I think they must have had featured artists and different programming because Essence Music Festival obviously was canceled during that year. And I've been following you ever since. And I had the privilege of coming to see you live last year for your
Yeah.
retreat, and it was amazing.
Thank you.
And it's so
Thank you.
funny because I've practiced yoga and follow different wellness experts and fitness experts, and I'm always amazed how when I meet them in person, if I ever had that opportunity, how their personalities might be different. But I feel like you are the same whether you are online or in person, and you have such a beautiful spirit that, of
Oh,
course, that I was
thank you.
attracted to over the internet waves and felt that great energy that you have throughout your offerings, but also in person. Had an amazing time, met some amazing women, and we had
Mm.
such a beautiful weekend in New Orleans last year.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's crazy too that it's been a year, but it seems short. I feel like it was just a couple of months ago.
It
I mean,
flew by.
yeah,
It
it
flew
flew
by.
by. The year really flew by. Yeah,
It
it did.
really did. Well, let's jump into our topic today. We're going to be talking about self care, breath work, body work, energy. What do these practices mean to you, and how are they all connected?
Yeah, when I think about like all of these, I mean, there's so many different types of practices, like you said, breath work, meditation, and then movement practices. For me, they just simply mean self love. And then the reason I say self love is because I started out practicing in really like the early 90s. I was in grad school, actually here in New Orleans. I was at Loyola University working on my MBA. And during that time, I mean, of course, it was stressful, but also at that exact same time, my older brother was dying from complications related to AIDS while I'm in the middle of grad school. And he was hospitalized here at Tulane University for many, many months. And that's when I started practicing yoga. And so it was an radical act of self love because I had to step away from my family, all the stresses, and take care of me. And it was interesting because a lot of people don't know, but my older brother, who has already passed, he was a medical doctor, and the one thing that he constantly reminded me is like, Faith, you have to take care of your body. You have to take care of your mind. I mean, our lives are too short. And so when I think about these practices, they're just simply tools that I'm going to use to love myself radically.
I like that. I like that a lot. And what I would love to do is help myself as well as my clients, because as you likely know, I have a personal assistant and concierge service. How can we make sure that we're not only taking care of ourselves when we feel that heightened sense of stress, or if there's a tragedy in our lives or trauma that we might be impacted by, but if we make it a daily practice of loving ourselves, then that will help the day to day go smoother. And then when those tragic things may happen, or those emergencies come up, or those high stress situations arise, then we'll be more equipped to handle them because we're already in the practice of having that self-love. In such a busy way of life that a lot of us live, what do you think is the most important when it comes to those mindful connections that you have through those
Yeah.
practices?
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. I think it's important to engage in those day-to-day practices. And I know people have extremely busy lives and they have lots of demands. And I find that the one thing that you can do to practice that radical self-love every single day is to give yourself at least a minimum of 3 minutes to just focus on your breath. So if you only know that you have that time when you're in the shower, do it. Because I mean, I don't have any kids, but when I think about some of my friends and some of my students or some of my clients, because I do private client, I do one-on-one coaching. When I talk to them, they're like, Faith, I don't have any time. Even when I go in the bathroom, there's the dog, there's the kids, and knocking on the door. I was like, no, take those 3 minutes to pause and breathe. If it's like when you're in the car going somewhere, even though you're in that active act, that action of driving, breathe, turn on some great music so that you can calm and soothe your nervous system. And that simple act, that simple practice will definitely support you in those moments where life is doing its crazy spin.
Mhm. And I love that because I have tried to say, okay, I'm going to set a timer for 30 minutes, or I'm going to take an hour every day just for myself. And that's not necessarily realistic. So I love this 3-minute snippet. And honestly, I can set my Apple Watch. They have a mindful feature in the app, in the fitness app,
Yeah.
where you can set it for 3 minutes or 5 minutes, and it'll just give you like a nice soothing visual on your watch
Mm.
that you can just take your 3 minutes, and it works
Take your 3
wonders.
minutes.
Yep.
It takes I mean, and it's such a small amount of time, but it packs such a potent punch because, I also, like, give people a couple of other recommendations. When you're in the kitchen cooking, when you are taking a quick walk, right, to go to work or to go to your car, right? Do it in a mindful way. So if you're taking those, you're like, oh, I'm going to get in the elevator because I live in a building. So if you're going to take the elevator, don't take the elevator, get on the stairs.
Mhm.
Walk down the stairs to the garage, and while you're doing that, breathe deeply.
Yeah. Small choices that will
Small
make
choices,
have a high impact. Small
high
choices, high
impact.
impact. Yep, I love that. What are some simple breathwork benefits and techniques that people can use daily? So you mentioned the 3 minutes. So if we're taking our 3 minutes, what can we do in that 3 minutes to really focus on our breath? And what are those benefits?
Yeah. So first, I'll talk about the benefits. So because we are living in a high intensity, high stressed environment, our nervous systems are on overload. I mean, all of us, I mean, even the ones that practice every single day, we are experiencing fight or flight, right? We are going through these moments of even freezing up or moving in this state of deep anger and frustration. So one of the breathing techniques that I recommend to immediately tap into soothing your nervous system is just simple, deep diaphragmatic breathing. It is the easiest one to do. It's the easiest one to remember, and you can do it anywhere. Like there are lots of other different breathing techniques out there that do a variety of things. I mean, there's stuff for sleep or get you more energized or so forth. But deep diaphragmatic breathing can be done while you're driving, while you're in the shower, while you're hanging out with the kids,
Yep.
or even, here's another one because I have a client that deals with really stressful environments. And sometimes she's in a conference room and somebody's saying something that's triggering you.
Hmm.
And I always remind her when that's happening, all you have to do is deep, long breaths. And that's going to calm you down so that you're not reacting to what's happening, but you're responding in a much more intentional way.
Right, right. Taking the pause to tap into your breath. Now you
Yeah.
mentioned, and I know you'll get into perhaps an example in a moment, but you've mentioned the nervous system a few times here, and coupled with stress. Are there different either triggers or signs that your nervous system is activated or that you are experiencing a reaction to stress? Are they similar, or do you think that those reactions are different?
They're very similar in different ways depending on what the stressor is. But a lot of times, I mean, one of the immediate things that can happen is shallow breathing. And that's why it's important to pause and take deep breaths because when we are triggered, when we feel afraid, when we feel even the need to fight and get angry, our breathing starts to move into this shallow place and we're breathing really fast. The other thing that happens is our body temperature is going to shift and change, our heart rate is going to shift and change. So if you are feeling some of those reactions, right, always say you can place one hand over the center of your chest and you'll know immediately, oh my God, my heart is beating really
Okay.
fast.
Yeah.
I need to slow down. And even sometimes, and it even helps to calm the nervous system. If you're like, oh my God, I feel this heartbeat, but I'm feeling a sense of fear and anger and I need to come into my body, always say just tap around your clavicle because that kind of taps into
Yes.
that
Like
sensory.
tapping. Yep.
Yeah, it's I mean, we've seen the people online doing all the tapping everywhere. Just do it quick. Right there on your chest. Okay, I'm in my body. Maybe even say I'm okay and I'm safe.
Hmm.
And then take another deep breath. And that
I love
starts to
it.
slow the nervous system down.
So
Yeah.
now that's going into some of your body work, right? So we talked a little bit about breathing. Now there's also benefits of the body work, such as the tapping. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we have nerves, I mean, thousands of nerve centers all over our body. And of course, I mean, there's different, the energy centers that are like our chakras that start from the base of the spine, go all the way up to the crown. But then we also have all of these different meridians, is what they're called. And I mean, they're a variety again in the body. But the ones that I really like to work with people on are the ones that are close to our chest and our throat. And then sometimes I'll work with stuff around the crown of the head. These are like things or the areas of the body that are easy to access. Of course, we can like massage our feet, tap our legs, but sometimes you don't have the space to do that, or you're in an environment where that just may not be appropriate, right? But it's appropriate to just kind of give yourself a little pat on the chest. It's
Yeah.
appropriate to wrap your arms around your body and to remind yourself that you are in your own safe container, right? You are physically present and just kind of even massaging, tapping, just even placing like rubbing your palms and placing your hands over your face or over the crown or the forehead can again just drop you into a place of centering. And I mean, in the beginning of our conversation, we talked about love and just like watching you do that right now, it's almost like you're like, yeah, I love myself.
Yes, it's like your own personal hug, and
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. And so, what I'm hearing is that this is all free. So,
It is oh, exactly. It's free, no charge, and you can do it anywhere. You know?
exactly. Because when I
Yeah.
was first thinking about body work, perhaps some people immediately go to, I need a massage every week. So when we think about our self care routines, it doesn't have to cost money. It doesn't have to tap into your discretionary funds. So if you don't have a high amount of discretionary funds, you can take care of yourself through body work,
Through body
on your
work, yeah.
own without spending
Yeah.
a dime.
Absolutely. There have been times, especially when I was in DC, I would work with women that have been abused or been in stressful situations. And a lot of those organizations are working with women that don't have that discretionary income, or they are even still with their partners at that time and they need to feel comfortable and safe in their body. They also need to reduce, meaning they need to calm and soothe their nervous system so that they can make decisions to move forward in their lives. And so these are some of the techniques that I will teach. It's like hugging yourself, touching like really giving yourself a nice squeeze, a massage. It's all free, but it helps you soothe the nervous system and remind you that you are in control, like you are in control of your body.
And that element of safety, I think that is important. Because at times, if we're experiencing a traumatic situation or we do feel like we don't have control, it seems like taking that hug for yourself is reminding yourself that you are safe.
Yeah, yeah. I'll give this. As you were talking about that sense of safety, a lot of times we may think like, oh, we're living in the United States or, another part of the world where we feel really comfortable and safe. And I've always felt, hey, in DC, New York, I felt really, really safe. Coming to New Orleans, I didn't, for some reason, even though I went to school here and I grew up in Louisiana, I didn't feel as safe in my body here. And then in January, at the beginning of the year, when there was, that really terrorist attack that we had on Bourbon Street, and the individual drove down the Bourbon Street. That created a huge sense of anxiety in my body. So what I would have to do before I would actually, and I walk everywhere, I don't drive. So I walk around the city. I live in the French Quarters. And so as I would walk and go run my errands, I realized that my heart rate was increasing and I was having a sense of anxiety crossing the street. Because Bourbon Street is literally only 3 blocks away from me. So it created this sense of anxiety. And I was like, Faith, you have to do something to shift that. So when I would get ready to leave the house, I would just be in the elevator going downstairs, just kind of giving myself a nice little hug. And then as I'm get to the red light or I'm about to cross the street, I would just simply place my hand over the center of my chest and rub right there at my heart chakra. And then I take a deep breath. People are probably already crossing the street. I don't know. But I was like, it's going to be okay, girl. It's going to be okay. And
Right.
then I would walk across the street. Yeah. So know that it doesn't matter how many skills you have, you know all the tools. There are times where you still need to remind yourself that you are safe in your body container.
And from what I hear from what I think understand and learn from that story is that you have to be mindful about what is happening. So, you've lived in big cities before, you grew up in Louisiana, went to school in New Orleans.
Yeah.
It probably on a normal day, at a normal time, you probably would never have thought that you would have that reaction to just
Yeah.
being in a space where you live every day that you're
Mhm.
used to.
Mhm.
But it sounds like being mindful of your body's reaction is really important to know when to tap in, what to do to tap in, and to kind of shift the
Yeah.
the feelings that you're having.
Yeah. And I think too, it's good that you noted that because I feel like sometimes people don't have as much self-awareness, and then they're probably wondering, well, how can I cultivate a little more self-awareness? Taking those 3 minutes, building that up to 5 minutes, building it up to 10 minutes, giving yourself time to pause and sit and be in meditation starts to cultivate more self-awareness. Not just mental self-awareness, but also physical self-awareness because your body and your mind are connected. So even if you are spinning in your mind, your heart rate spinning, right? Your physical body is under this level of stress. Your cortisol level is shooting out the roof. And so it's important to give yourself the spaciousness to pause, reconnect, examine, self-assess so that when you are triggered, you know what that feels like. You know what your normal is, and then you know how to support it through your breath work, through your mindfulness practices.
Nice, good thoughts.
Yeah.
Now, when we talk about energy, what is the difference between like energy work and body work?
Yeah, so they're kind of similar in the sense, I mean, your body work, we talked about the tapping, but if someone's actually doing body work on you, it could be everything from massage to acupuncture to Thai massage, because I do Thai massage. That's what that thought came up. But you can also do those same types of things on yourself, right? When it comes to energetics, we have a variety of energy centers that are within our body. And I talked earlier about the chakras, right? So when we want to feel that energetic sense of grounding, right? That's more of a root chakra energy. We talked a lot about the center of the chest when we want to feel connected, safe, pure, right? Or we want to feel this expression of love and compassion. That's our heart center. So thinking about all of those different energy centers that surround us, and a lot of times our aura, and I give people a really great example. If you walk into a space, I'm thinking about one of my grandparents right now. If you walk into a space and you're like, "Oh no, this is some bad energy up in here." Like we've all had that experience, right?
Yeah.
You walk in and you're like, just something doesn't feel right, doesn't feel comfortable. That's that energy that's flowing around you because ultimately everything is energy. Space is energy. The time that we're spending here in this call, that is energy. The waves are moving from your space into my space and back, vice versa, right? And then you think about you also carry energy in your body. Coming back to that aspect of self awareness, in order for us to identify what we need, we have to be aware of our physical body, but also have to be aware of our energetic body. And that is the vibrations that are moving in, moving out, and also surrounding us. When it comes to the work that, like, say, practitioners or healers and guides like myself, we sometimes use a combination of both the energetic work and also the body work. So, my body work techniques that I use, of course, the Thai massage, yoga, somatic healing, right? Getting the physical body moving. The energetic work that I will use is definitely any Reiki healing. Anytime I do any chakra work on people, guided meditation, that's an energy work
Okay.
activity, right? So it can look and be and appear in different forms, but in order for us to stay whole, solid, and connected, we have to be in tune with both our physical body as well as our energetic body. And that can, of course, be done and worked on in various ways.
Now, what is the difference between Reiki and chakra healing?
Yeah, so it can chakra, I should say, chakra healing can also be incorporated into Reiki. So Reiki is a very more ancient Asian center. Like when you speak of the word Reiki, that definitely is Asian based. But I do want to share with people, even though like I'm a certified Reiki healer and a Reiki master, I harness more than just the energetics around the Asian influence practice because our ancestors in ancient Kemet throughout Africa, I mean, and also you think about the Baptist church when they say we're putting hands on you, okay? I grew up in Louisiana. Somebody was putting some hands on somebody. I mean, come on. So that's energy work. So that's kind of the work that I do. I put the hands on people. And so when you think about chakra energy work, then you are focusing on very specific areas and realms of your body to get grounded, to create more fluidity, to tap into your power and move through blocks, to open up your heart center, your throat. I'm basically moving up the chakras right now
Nice.
to communicate more effectively, to tap into your intuition and wisdom, and then also the energy that's right at the crown of your head that's going to connect you with the divine. And then we talked about overall energetics, then we also have our aura. So there's 7 primary chakras, but then we also have our aura as well.
And how can someone tell if their energy is out of balance or if their energy is blocked or their aura is not as, I don't know, what is the term?
Vibrant.
Vibrant as it should be?
So I'll move through the chakras since I started down. Let's start from the crown and go down. So the crown of the head, as I shared, is more of tapping into your divine energy, but also spirit energy. A lot of times that chakra crown is blocked. You may realize that you can't think properly. You feel scattered and disconnected, or your relationship with the divine, like whatever you consider the divine is not as strong. Like there's not a spiritual connection. Like regardless of if you believe in anything, like even if your spirit guide is a rock, right? Or a tree, like if you don't even feel connected to the earth anymore, that's probably your crown chakra is saying like you don't know the power of that's beyond you. So the third eye or first eye right there between your brow, that's deep seat intuition. So it's like you can't intuitively think your right and left brain, right, are not in sync and in alignment. So you're thinking analytically, but also moving through that creative flow and they're working in collaboration, then more than likely your first eye is out of balance. Also, your decision making skills, right, are not at their highest. When you think about your throat, that's a place of communication. If you're having a hard time speaking up, speaking your truth, if you have a tendency to close off and you're afraid of sharing your thoughts, that's the throat chakra. If you are or have moved through heartbreak, pain, right? There's this sense of fear, right, that you may be experiencing, or you may just be completely closed off to human connection. That's your heart chakra. If you're feeling this lack of power and strength, confidence, that is your third chakra. And that third chakra right there above your navel is your power center. Now, right below your navel is your sacral center. That's your second chakra. That particular chakra is related to creativity and fluidity. We all find ourselves stuck in patterns and old behaviors. And we're thinking to ourselves, I want to move, I want to shift, but I don't know how. Or you're just so or you're lacking this sense of motivation, more than likely that's your second chakra energy out of line. And then the last one, which is actually the most important one, I always say it's the most important one because it's the foundation of everything, right? So that's the first chakra right there at the base of your spine. It governs your feet, your legs, and so forth. But that's when you don't feel at home. And I don't mean at home just in your physical space. You don't feel at home in your body. You feel disconnected from who you are. And you feel like everything that you touch, feel, and sense is shaky. And there's a lot of uncertainty. That's your first chakra. Yeah. That's a lot.
It is, but I think the connection to your body, to how you wanna operate, how do you wanna show up in the world is really important, so I really appreciate
Yeah.
you breaking it down like that.
Yeah.
And through
Yeah.
all of this, a word that comes to mind is wholeness. So how can we be
Mm.
whole? What can we do so we can show up in the world whole and safe and, like, full of love so we can receive love that we deserve, we can give the love that other people deserve. So when you think about wholeness, what does that mean to you?
When I think about wholeness, it really is kind of the way that you described it is that we are more than just these physical bodies. We are spirit, we are energy. Our minds, our souls, and our physical body are connected. And when even one of those elements are out of alignment, then we're not whole. And so what I find is that these practices, right, from the meditation, from the breath work, from even just walking and moving the body in some way brings everything back in alignment, brings us back into this place of wholeness, meaning the body, the mind, as well as the spirit.
I love it. What do you do for your self-care so that you can stay whole? What are your daily rituals?
Yeah, so it's interesting because I emailed the team over at the Today Show for the Start Today because I'm one of the contributors for that, and they were like, "Hey, Faith, we need you to send over your 5 things that you do first thing in the morning." So I'll go through those. Hydrate,
Uh-huh.
like literally before I go to bed at night, I pour a glass of water and I put it on my nightstand so that I can wake up in the morning and kickstart that hydration. Gratitude, right? So first thing in the morning, before I even get out of the bed, I'm expressing gratitude for my life, my family, all the things that help sets the tone for the day. I always try and make sure that I give myself just a moment of deep breathing, and that may be in the bed, out of the bed, when I'm already starting the morning. So tapping into my breath in some way, getting my body moving, so important. So important. And of course, making some time for stillness. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Well, thank you so much for being here. I hope that my
Yeah, of
listeners
course.
got a little bit of a taste of what I enjoy so much and appreciate about you and the work that you do. How can we find you?
Thanks.
Where can we find you? How can we tap into your work and your offerings?
Yeah, yeah. So the main place, of course, is my website, which is pretty simple, faithhunter.com. I always like to tell people if they want to like drop into some deep practices, of course, I have a YouTube page. So go to my YouTube channel, check me out there. Also, I'm on all the different forms of social media. So on Instagram, Facebook, and I think I'm on Twitter. Yeah. No, not, but I don't call it Twitter. I'm not on X anymore. No, I don't do that. I don't do that. What you could also TikTok. That's what I was thinking about. You can find me on TikTok. I created a TikTok account. It's kind of funny, but I'm on there. You can find me. But faithhunter.com and definitely my YouTube page. And you know what? There's one thing I almost forgot when you were thinking about wholeness. I actually started a Substack a couple of months ago. Actually, yeah, in January when I was doing some self care. I was out of the country and I was like, I think I need to start a Substack. And so I did. And so people can find some of my articles there. And actually, my Substack is called Wholeness.
Really? I love that. I love it, and
Yeah.
I will definitely look you up there. Listen, I, of course, since I've followed your work for so long, have known about, the practices that you teach, and have been a benefit and recipient of those things, but I've in this 30 minutes have learned a little bit as well. So I appreciate like how you pour into
Wow.
people, what you're giving to the world, and really appreciate you being here today.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you. It's an
You're
honor to be
welcome.
here.
Mhm. All right. Well, until next time, friends, be well and be balanced. We'll see you soon. Thank you for joining me this week. Let's continue the conversation on social media at 1 Minute with Monet on all channels. Also, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. Until next time, be well and be balanced.